I'm going to show you how I make my kombucha, and the basic recipe is 3 quarts of water to 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of loose leaf tea, or it's 5 black tea bags, and you can either use half a cup of finished kombucha or a fourth a cup of apple cider vinegar. And then what I do is I just double it. That's quadrupled. And today I'm going to make this big one. I'm going to make 15 quarts, which for me is like 5 batches of kombucha. But anyway, start here if it's your first time making kombucha. So what I do now is I boil about a fourth of the water that I'm going to use. And the reason why I don't boil all of it is that it just makes it a lot easier. You don't have to wait for all of it to cool down. I'm going to show you the different types of tea that you can use. You need to use black tea or green tea. And you don't want to use any flavored teas. You can use them, but don't use them all the time. They kind of a little bit mess up your kombucha Scooby, but it can be remedied in the next batch. Jasmine and like a mango Ceylon. So Ceylon tea is fine, but when you add in flavors, anyway, everything I've read says it messes up your kombucha, but it does taste really good. You can use that for like a secondary ferment, but not for the first. Okay, so you've got regular Ceylon teas, fine. Orange Pico. Oolong tea, that gives a nice, very mild flavor. Darjeeling. Tippy Golden, that's a good one. Any kind of black tea is fine. And if you make a lot of kombucha, you're going to want to go to the loose leaf because it's cheaper. I can get it in bulk by the pound, and you can get it organic. If you get it in the tea bag, that starts getting expensive because 1 batch is 5 tea bags. Alright, so what I do first is I put in my tea, and today I'm going to use the oolong tea. And I'm using 10 tablespoons because I'm doing 5 batches. And my water was boiling, but I'm going to turn it off now and take it off the heat. And stir it. And then you want to add your sugar. Now, this is a little bit controversial. You need to use evaporated white sugar, or they call it evaporated cane sugar, and you can find that organic. It really is just a glorified white sugar. But it does the best with kombucha, and it does get eaten out by the good bacteria. It gets eaten on by the good bacteria. I have made it with honey before and sucanat, and it never turned out very good. And my Scooby, the main, the mother culture, it doesn't thrive. It doesn't do very good. There's some science behind all that, and I won't get into that. So for now, just know, ideally, the best thing for kombucha is evaporated cane sugar, and I buy it in bulk because it takes a lot of sugar. This batch for 15 quarts is 5 cups of sugar. Alright, once you get all your sugar added, stir well. You want to get all the sugar dissolved in there. So you definitely want to stir this quite a bit on the bottom until you don't feel those little granules anymore. And you're just going to let this sit until you can go on to the next steps, and this will do its brewing, do its thing. You want to let it steep for about 10 to 15 minutes, at least. Okay, now this is done doing its brew, and this is like your tea concentrate. Think of it that way. So for me, half of this goes in one pot and half goes in the other. But it has all these tea leaves in it. So what I do is I just over some kind of something, I have my strainer. I'm going to strain out the tea leaves. And if you have those little pouches, just pull them out. But you want to make sure, like, look at the bottom, and you can tell all that sugar was dissolved. So my tea concentrate is 8 cups, so that means I get to do 4 cups in each of my pots. And then you're going to add the water up to the amount that you need, your filtered water, and then add your amounts of finished kombucha brewed tea, which for me is 2.5 cups total of finished brewed tea. So that's 1.25 cup for me in each one of these. And if you don't have finished brewed tea, just use apple cider vinegar. And that's really important because it starts getting the acidification and the pH it helps to start lower the pH of your kombucha. Alright, now I'm going to add, for my 5 batches, it's 1.25 cup of finished kombucha. You want to use, your plain kombucha that has just brewed. And then you want to add your water up to the amount that you need, and then we'll put our Scooby on top. Alright, after you have your new tea ready, you're ready to add your mushrooms. And I was going to show you my mushrooms and what they look like. You want the rough side to go towards the bottom and the smooth side to be towards the top. Or another way to think of it as it'll always be lighter on the top in color than it will be on the bottom, because this is the newest brew is on the top, and then all the preceding older brews are down here, so you'll have a much darker color mushroom down there than you will up here. Another thing to know is that once your kombucha gets about 1 inch thick, you want to separate it and kind of get it to maybe about a 1/2 inch, and you can give away these other sheets to friends, family, or give them to your chickens, feed them to your dog or your cat, or also you can feed it to your compost. Yeah, that's what you do with it. So only about 1 inch thick. And then what you do is you just put it on top of your new brew. And if it falls down, it's okay. Mine usually float really good. Once you have about that much going, it's really good. It easily floats at the top. And then the next step is you want to cover it with a very thick, like just, a towel or a napkin, but something that has a thick weave. And you also, very important, want to secure it down to make sure no fruit flies can get in here, no regular flies can get in there. Because especially fruit flies, they'll get in here and they'll lay eggs, and it is nasty. So make sure that all you need is 1 rubber band, and that'll keep them out. And there you go. The other important step to do is to label the container. I'm just going to brew mine. I just brew it for a standard 7 days. Doesn't matter the season, I just brew 7 days. So I write what 7 days is from now. I pressed the Concord grapes and made it into a juice, and I froze it. And this is awesome. This stuff is so delicious, but it's an incredible amount of work. What's nice is it's not pasteurized, and it comes from organic Concord grapes. But if you don't have the time to do that, your other option is this brand does a really good Concord grape juice. It's organic. It is pasteurized, but it is not from concentrate. So it's just from ripe, whole, organic Concord grapes, and I like that. Alright, so I've taken out your mother culture, and I've also taken out the tea. Make sure you take out a little bit of tea for your next batch. This is about 3 quarts to 4 quarts of kombucha, and you really can put as much juice or as little juice as you want. Alright, now we're ready to jar a kombucha, and I'm going to show you the many options that you have to jar kombucha, and I'll show you my favorite. Okay, this is the quick way to do it. This is a 1/2 gallon mason jar, and you can pour your second ferment kombucha in here and fill it up all the way to the top and put the lid on really tight. However, after the first time you open it, it loses all the fizzy. And to me, the whole point of kombucha is it's kind of like a sweet, effervescent, it's like a soda pop, and that's like the fun of it. So if my kombucha is flat, it's like no fun. It's like drinking a flat soda. So I don't like using mason jars, even though they are quick, and they do work. Okay, I have these. These are the ones that are like made in Italy, and I must have had a jar that had a crack in it or had a flaw in the design, but I have had these burst on me. And I know a lot of people swear by them, and they are thick glass, but I have had it burst on me. And also, they're very tall, so they don't fit very well in my refrigerator. As with, here's another one, kind of the same deal. They don't fit well in my refrigerator. That one hasn't busted though. Alright, so my favorite option are these flip top. Absolute favorite. They've never busted on me. And you can pick the amount of ounces that you want. This is 16 ounces, and this is also 16 ounces. And this is my absolute new favorite because, see, it's shorter. So it fits in the refrigerator a lot better. It fits in like 3 places, and this tall one is 16 ounces. It only fits in 1 place. Anyways, this is also a good portion size for like 2 people, or what you would drink in maybe about a day. So what happens is it'll stay fizzy all day. So if you have 12 of these in the refrigerator, you'll always have fizzy kombucha. Yes, it does take a little bit more work to clean it out and to bottle it, but for me it's worth it. It's the difference between drinking a flat soda and drinking a fizzy soda. When you're jarring your kombucha, I like to use, a lot of these funnels come with a strainer down here, and that's really awesome. You should have that in there too. But I really like metal strainers because they have really fine holes, and it makes it so you catch all of these little things. They won't hurt you, but when you're drinking it, it's kind of odd to be all of a sudden you might catch like a baby kombucha Scooby. It'll be like a slimy thing. So by doing this, you catch a lot of the, the ookie gookies that are in here. Anyway, so I just go from bottle to bottle. And I really like doing it in the sink because it seems like every time I do it on the counter I make a huge mess. But it's easy in the sink. There you go. And you want to leave about 1/4 of an inch of space at the top or less. And that'll help it so your bottles won't explode. The more space you have, the more pressure will build up in your jar, and the more chance you have for the jar to explode. And also you'll get a huge pop when you undo your jar. Oh, look at all those beautiful bubbles. So you want to hear that pop when you open the bottle. And then I like to strain it right before I serve it because you always end up with some kind of little yummies. And look at all that beautiful fizz. Enjoy!